Hello, dear friends. Today, let's listen to the story of a girl who found a little piglet abandoned in the wild and raised it in secret. Soon, the pig became a local celebrity. Would you believe it? Well, if not, let's get started and find out. Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by rolling hills and whispering trees, there lived a girl named Luna. She had hair as dark as the night sky, eyes that sparkled like stars, and a heart filled with kindness. Luna loved her village and her family, but sometimes she felt a little lonely. She wished she had someone to share her secrets with, someone who would always be there for her. Every morning on her way to school, Luna walked through an old forest, and every morning she stopped by an abandoned farm that had become overgrown with weeds and vines. One day, while exploring the dilapidated barn, she heard a strange sound behind the fence. At first, she thought it might be the wind, but then she heard it again. It was soft, like a tiny sneeze. Filled with curiosity and a sense of adventure, she walked closer and peered through the gate, and there he was, a small, round piglet with the biggest eyes she'd ever seen. He looked up at her with a mixture of fear and hope in his eyes. His little tail twitched nervously as he took a cautious step forward. Luna couldn't help but smile. Something about those pleading eyes tugged at her heartstrings. She felt an instant connection with the tiny creature. Taking a deep breath, she reached out her hand slowly, as if to say, "Don't be afraid." The piglet sniffed her fingers cautiously before nudging them with his wet nose. In that moment, Luna knew she had made a friend. Over the next few weeks, Luna returned to the farm every day, bringing the piglet food and water. She talked to him in a soft, soothing voice, and he responded by wagging his tail and squealing with delight. As days turned into weeks, the piglet grew stronger and more playful. He would greet her at the fence, his whole body wiggling with joy. Luna named him Oink because his happy squeals sounded like little oinks. As their friendship deepened, Luna confided her hopes and dreams to Oink, sharing with him the secrets of her heart. He listened patiently, his head tilted to the side, as if understanding every word she said. For Luna, it felt as though she had found a kindred spirit in the most unexpected place. Meanwhile, Oink was thriving under Luna's care. He was no longer the scared, skinny piglet she had first found. He had become a healthy, happy pig with a shiny coat and a playful attitude. Yet their idyllic friendship was threatened by a constant fear hanging over Luna's head. She knew that if her parents or the villagers found out about Oink, they would take him away. Villagers weren't fond of pigs, and keeping one as a pet was strictly forbidden. Despite the danger, Luna couldn't bear the thought of Oink returning to the abandoned farm. She had grown to love him too much, so she kept him a secret, visiting him every day after school and sneaking him extra treats from her lunch. It was a risky plan, but for Luna and Oink, it was worth it. Then one evening, a fierce storm rolled into the village. Lightning flashed and thunder boomed. The wind howled like a hungry wolf, shaking the windows and rattling the doors. Fearful for Oink's safety, Luna grabbed her raincoat and ran into the pouring rain. Upon arriving at the old farm, she noticed that the fence had been broken and Oink was nowhere to be found. Panic surged through her as she called out his name, her voice echoing in the vast emptiness. Suddenly, she heard a desperate squeal coming from a nearby pond. Rushing towards the sound, she saw Oink struggling in the muddy water, his little legs flailing as he tried to free himself from the sticky situation. Without hesitation, Luna jumped into the murky water. Despite the cold seeping through her clothes, she managed to grab onto Oink and pull him out to safety. Wrapping him in her jacket, she carried him home, her heart pounding in her chest. Back at home, Luna dried Oink and wrapped him in a blanket. He was shivering, weak, and frightened, but she knew she had to hide him. If her parents discovered a muddy pig in their house, they would be furious. Thinking quickly, she snuck him into her closet, which was filled with coats and boots. Every night before going to bed, Luna would open the closet door and spend hours whispering stories to Oink, comforting him and reassuring him that everything would be all right. In the mornings, she would sneak out to feed him bits of toast and secretly dream of a world where she could keep him without fear. As Oink grew bigger, hiding him in the closet became more challenging. He was strong and curious, and Luna could only sneak in small amounts of food. She started to worry about his health and well-being, knowing that she couldn't keep this charade forever. But fate had other plans. One afternoon, when Luna returned home from school, she found disaster waiting for her. Flour covered the floor, plant pots lay broken on the ground, and Oink stood in the middle of the chaos, munching on a piece of bread. Before Luna could utter a sound, the front door opened and her parents entered the room. They stared at the mess and then at Oink, their faces etched with surprise and disbelief. Silence hung heavy in the air, broken only by Oink's contented chewing. Then, as if sensing the gravity of the situation, he dropped the bread and oinked loudly, as if to apologize for the mess. Luna's parents exchanged glances. A slow smile spread across her mother's face, and she knelt down to Oink's level. "Well, it looks like we have a new roommate," she said with amusement. Oink oinked happily, his tail swishing back and forth. Luna's father chuckled and ruffled her hair. "Don't worry, Luna. We won't send him away." And so Oink officially became part of the family. He had his own bed, a little red scarf, and a spot at the dinner table. He helped dig holes in the garden. He chased birds out of the yard, and even learned to skateboard, sort of. Days turned into weeks, and Oink became a local celebrity in the village. People would come from neighboring towns to see the polite pig with perfect manners. Luna couldn't have been happier. Her secret was out, but instead of being punished, Oink was celebrated. Then, one day, an announcement came that the village was hosting its first animal talent show. All proceeds would go to building a new playground, and both Luna and Oink wanted to participate. Every day after school, they practiced their routine. Oink learned to spin, jump, and even dance. On the day of the show, the stage was packed with animals from all around. Dogs, cats, rabbits, even a goat were showing off their skills. Luna and Oink were last on the program. They walked onto the stage together, and Oink bowed to the cheering crowd. The music began, and they started their routine. Oink spun and twirled, jumped and danced, and balanced a ball on his nose. The crowd went wild with each trick, but in the middle of their final trick, he slipped. Everyone gasped as Oink stumbled and fell. Luna rushed to his side, fearing he might be hurt. Oink looked up at her, his eyes filled with sadness and embarrassment. But Luna knew what she had to do. She lifted his chin and whispered, "You did amazing." The crowd stood up and applauded, not because they were perfect, but because they were real. In the end, they didn't win first place, but they won everyone's hearts. A week later, the mayor visited their house. He handed Luna a certificate that read, "Official Pig Trainer of the Village." Oink wore it like a crown, and from then on, wherever Luna went, Oink was right behind her in the rain, in the snow, in her dreams. They weren't just friends anymore, they were family. So friends, Luna and Oink prove that the most unlikely friendships can blossom in the most unexpected ways. Luna wasn't just a girl who found a pig in the wild. She was a kind and compassionate young soul who saw beyond Oink's species and recognized the beautiful friendship that awaited them both. Their bond taught the entire village about loyalty, acceptance, and the true meaning of family. Oink wasn't just a pig, he was a hero with a heart of gold. If you liked this story, follow us and give it a thumbs up. More interesting stories await you. Until next time, dear friends.